Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Wendy Fracchia, and I'm the operations manager for Morris Murdock Escorted Tours. We are the Escorted group division of Morris Columbus Travel, which has been in business for 65 years. We are the largest independently owned travel agency in the Western U.S., and we're very proud of that. We've been doing this for a long time, and we are super excited to be offering amazing products with amazing people to amazing destinations. So thank you for being here and for joining us on this amazing presentation that we're going to be doing of a tour to Turkey. And this has been just such a hot destination. We get so many questions about it. And it's really special this year because it is a destination, and I'm sure our special guest, Scot Maurine Proctor, will be commenting on is what a unique destination it is, how it marries Europe and Asia, and the history, the biblical history, the religious history. I mean, there's so much there. There's so many layers to it, the natural beauty. So yeah, we really wanted to share this exciting trip with you. So thank you for joining us. Scot Maurine, you guys have we're just thrilled, number one, to be working with you guys for, well over a decade. I'm not even sure how long. It's probably going on to. You are so well respected, not just in the publishing industry, but in the travel industry. Your people, your groupies absolutely love you. For anybody who doesn't know who Scot Maurine Proctor is, I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves. And I love to hear one thing you especially enjoy about taking people to your favorite destinations.
Well, wonderful.
We're so happy to be with you today, Wendy. This is just so fun.
We are the founders and publishers and editors of Meridian Magazine, which comes out every day and has for 26 years online. It's of course, a magazine for Latter-day Saints. We do a Come Follow Me podcast. And of course, we travel. And we travel for a really specific reason.
We really do. We travel because we love to teach. We love to go into the sites that are holy all around the world. We've done the church history tour now for 33 years. We've done the Holy Land since 1998. We've done numerous tours around the world, but we really have a passion to teach and define the spiritual things and the spiritual things we can say in these various places. And Turkey, which we're going to be talking about today, is an amazing place. And Wendy, you mentioned you'd like us to say, what do we like about taking people to a place? I'll tell you what I like. It's like when you've seen an amazing movie, and you take someone that you love to that movie, and you sit down with them and say, no, I've seen this. I'm going to try to be really quiet, but this part's coming. And you're like, oh, wait, hold on. I wouldn't tell you that. No, okay, I'm quiet. Okay. But it's like experiencing this together is so fun because we've seen the movie a number of times. People say all the time, do you ever get tired of this? And we say, never, never.
We try to make our journeys really transformational so that you have an experience not only with a wonderful, remarkable foreign destination, but you have a spiritual experience in your soul. And one of the great things is that you travel with these people, and at first you think, oh, I don't know any of these people. And by the end of our trip, we are all like family.
We are
just
family.
Love each other. Latter-day Saints have amazing ability to create community. And that happens really quickly on these trips. We laugh a lot. We have so much fun. We say these trips are not only educational and inspirational, but they are just plain fun. And don't we all need a little bit more fun in our lives?
We do.
Oh, 100%. I was going to say, Scot, I absolutely love that comparison. First of all, I'm 100% going to use that. Maureen, I think you talked about one of the things that I think is so significant about our tours compared to other similar companies is that we do only send one motor coach on our tours. We feel it's really important to build that sense of community. And I just want to expand a little bit on some of the things that you guys talked about, that in the introduction of our 65-year-old company, we started our tour division as doing travel for faith-based destinations for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So that was our footprint, but we have since expanded into many, all areas of the world. And some are Christianity tours, not specific faith, and some are just travel experiences together. We love the Proctors because they are so faith-based, focused on their trips. One of the things about Morris Murdock Escorted Tours is that we kept the name Murdock because it is so near and dear to our faith-based heritage. We've sent so many people, I say we, Murdock Travel, on their missions before the church took their travel in-house. So when we merged with Morris or with Columbus Travel back in 2021, it was really great. We were very honored that they felt that our reputation as Morris Murdock Escorted Tours was strong enough that we were not having to rebrand. So again, I'm sorry for jumping in and doing a little promoting there, but just to give a little idea, because this is going to be a faith-based travel, and I'm just excited for you guys to jump in and walk us through this.
Well, we're excited too. And when you say faith-based, in Turkey, we're talking very specifically about Paul and the young gospel. And in the scriptures, we read that all of the world was in an uproar because of Paul's teachings. And when they're talking about all of the world, they're talking about today's Turkey. We'll show you that on a map in just a minute. But so this is a spiritual tour. And if you've been to Israel and you love that, well, then it's time to come to Turkey and add to the story.
Well, and if you look on this screen that you're looking at, you see that Turkey's not spelled the way that you're used to having it spelled. And this was a recent change. Now, it wasn't a recent in-country change. It was a recent international change. President Erdogan asked that the name of the country be changed in all the books and all the geography things to Turkiye, because that's what it's always been for them. And they're kind of tired of being called Turkey. So we can kind of go back and forth. We won't say in this presentation. Now, when we go to Turkey, you shall talk. We're going to talk about Turkey, but it is Turkey.
Well, I like the other part of this title too, the hidden jewel, because when people are thinking about where are the travel destinations they'd like most to go, Turkey should come right to mind because it is astounding things to see, both in terms of historical culture and geography are just amazing. So let's jump into the slide.
Well, and you're looking at the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, and we'll talk a little bit about Istanbul. We're not going to give away the whole tour, but we're going to give you little highlights and little, just little things to get you excited. And so let's just start looking at these things. Now, I always have to know where I am in the world just by a map, and this is a satellite view of the Middle East and actually of Western Europe and Northern Africa. And you can see down on the bottom part of the screen here, here's the Arabian Peninsula that comes down. Here's the Persian Gulf. Here's the Red Sea. This large body here is the Mediterranean Sea. Here's the Adriatic. If you go right up here, there's Venice.
You can see Italy, the boot.
Yeah, there's the boot of Italy. Here's the peninsula of Greece. Here's the Aegean Sea. This little guy right here is the Sea of Marmara. Here's the Black Sea. And this peninsula right here sticking out that kind of is an odd shape here, that is Turkey. And so
All of that.
And so if we go in, let's just zoom in a little tighter here. You see the population centers, and where my cursor is going, there's Istanbul, which is a huge city. And here in the central part of the Anatolian Plateau is Ankara, which is the capital city. If you go way out here to the east, here's Lake Van. It looks like Lake Van, V-A-N, but it's pronounced Van, Lake Van. And right out here is Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark landed at the end of the flood. So this is pure history. Now, and over here, by the way, is Izmir, and down here is Antalya. We'll go to all these places in the western portion of Turkey, and you'll love every minute of this. It is so exciting. But let's look at it in the sense of neighbors.
That's right. So who is surrounding Turkey? Well, we see that we have Greece right to the west of it. And then you go on and there's Italy just a little further along in the Mediterranean Sea. Just south of Turkey is Syria and Jordan and Israel, as well as Iraq. So that is fascinating.
Quite the neighborhood.
Quite the neighborhood. It's got Bulgaria up there, Romania, and across the Black Sea is Ukraine. So you can see this is a really interesting neighborhood that you might not
Talk about a neighborhood.
might not have spent much time in before.
It's quite the neighborhood, but let's look at this in relationship to the biblical times. So we're going to overlay this with Paul's missions. Look at Paul coming out of, here's Israel down here in the lower right of your screen, and then all these arrows, but look at this, almost everything he does goes through Turkey.
Oh my goodness, these are all such familiar names from the book of Acts. Iconium, Antioch, Antioch. They're all things we know really well. And of course, Ephesus.
Here's Galatia over
Galatia.
here.
So these are things places we know, but we don't have a mental image of where they are, but they're in Turkey.
Well, and Paul is born here in Tarsus, so Paul is a Turk, except there was no Turkey then, so he was actually a Roman citizen. But there's Tarsus right there, just in the area of Cilicia. But Paul spent time in all of these places. And when I was a youth growing up in Turkey, we lived in the capital city in Ankara, which is the capital of Galatia. We'll see that in a few minutes. But we spent a lot of our time as a family following in the footsteps of Paul and going to all of these places. We went to every one of these places to get to know Paul. And when you go to these places and walk in his footsteps, you start understanding the scriptures as never before. So that's very exciting. And this Mediterranean region is, of course, that was the known world in those days. But like Maureen said, the whole world was in an uproar. They're talking about Turkey.
Yeah, and Mediterranean Sea means middle of the earth. So this was the earth. This was the known history. This was the place where apparently in the latest time frame things began.
So, oh my goodness, look at this.
So of course, what are you going to do when you go to Turkey? What comes to mind? Hot air ballooning.
And this is in,
Of course, it was the first thing I thought of.
I know.
of course, this is in Cappadocia. And if you look at this, look at these little tufts down here, these little pointed things. Those are volcanic tufts, and there are thousands of them. They've been here since prehistory, and the people, it's kind of a soft material that people can carve out of. So they've carved literally thousands of homes, hundreds of churches. There are underground cities here from the 4th and 5th and clear up to the 15th centuries where Christians were hiding out. So we'll be going there. And now, of course, it's a
And you
world.
choose, obviously, to go do some hot air ballooning, and you and I certainly are going to do that.
We will do. We
miss that.
love this. And
I was going to say how magical to be able to see that area from above.
Exactly.
What you're talking about.
Those tufts.
It's so amazing. And, on the day of Pentecost, the people that were in Jerusalem from Cappadocia are mentioned. And the Apostle Peter, in his first epistle, was directing his message to the saints in 5 areas, including here in Cappadocia. And Paul established a branch here. And this region was a safe haven for Christians for 700 years. So, I mean, this is like the foundation of Christianity is right here in Turkey.
This is where the early day saints were.
It really is.
Yeah.
And now we are the Latter-day Saints. These are the early day saints. Okay, so that's exciting. Now, look at this place.
This, of course, is Ephesus. And my goodness, this is the library at Ephesus. You can see such amazingly beautiful things here. This was a place where there were winds of lots of different ideas blowing through Ephesus. And the Christians who were here had to sort of stay underground just a little bit because it was a little bit dangerous for them. So this is when they used that symbol of the fish to represent that they were Christians and that they would mark their stands and things to show that that's who they were.
And you can see those in certain locations. You can see those little fish symbols carved right onto the street. And as we walk down the street together, it's so exciting because this is one of the best preserved cities in the ancient world, from the ancient world. And listen to this scripture. This is from Ephesians. Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. Now, I mean, this is the very street where Paul was talking to these people about this, and you can feel every wind of doctrine going through this because you have the Greek influence and the Roman influence and the Hellenic influence
And
and
you're
all
quite
these
close to the seashore, so you're getting every wind
from the whole
from
world.
the world. It's a fascinating symbol that just lives. But this is a beautiful, wonderful place. And
It
now,
really is. Everybody who goes to Ephesus, it's one of their favorites.
forever. But if you want the world's most colorful and interesting indoor bazaar, it is Istanbul's Grand Bazaar. Look at this place. I mean, this is some place that you could just enjoy forever, looking at all the textures and colors and crafts and things that are entirely different than you have it in your home.
And we can help you understand. You know, a lot of people go on these trips and they say, now, what are some of the coolest things that I can buy? We can help you because this
Been
is
there,
the
done
place.
that.
And if you look carefully up in the corner, just beyond the center where my cursor's going, there's a sale today for 60% off. So, you know, those things happen, you know, but these are very famous Turkish lamps. And
Well,
stuff.
Turkey is famous for its gold and silver and its beautiful copper pieces. We've gotten incredible antiques in this Istanbul's Grand Bazaar that we have cherished in our home forever. And the textiles are so rich. You can just
I love the ceiling on it too.
Oh,
yeah.
and this bazaar is well over 1,000 years old, and so it's there are, I don't remember how many. I think there's somewhere between 900 and 1,200 shops in here, but it is just, oh, it's so rich and full of feeling and texture, and the people are so friendly, and it's just a wonderful place. You'll love this Grand Bazaar. So
Now, yes. So when we're talking about Istanbul, it's the only city in the world that straddles two continents. It has part of it in Asia and part of it is in Europe. And the Bosporus comes down the middle here. We can see the Bosporus with this bridge going across it. And so
It's huge.
and one side
Yeah.
is Asia, and it's just you get on any hill, and the view is incredible to think you're seeing two continents at once.
And when I lived here as a boy and then as a teenager, the Boy Scouts had a swim that was an annual swim. And if you swam across the Bosphorus, you got a medal for your uniform that said, having swam from Europe to Asia. And so,
wow.
so that was pretty cool. And I, unfortunately, did not get to do it. My brother did, my older brother did, but I didn't get to do the swim. But the Bosphorus does have a lot of jellyfish. So you have to be careful of that. But it's not a big swim. It's only like, I think the narrowest part is like just over half a mile, but then most of it's about a mile wide. So, but it's such a unique place. And here we are looking at a different view. This is a famous tower in Istanbul that if you climb to the top with your true love, then you're supposed to be able to give your promises of love for eternity here, etc. So,
Oh, I think one of the most romantic places, that I don't mean just in terms of your true love, but and just in terms of your imagination, one of the most romantic places in the world is to wake up in a hotel in Istanbul and look out over that Bosporus as the sun is just coming up, sort of like this picture. That was really a thrill I will never forget.
oh, it really is amazing. And we've gone on the Bosphorus numerous times, going up and down towards the Black Sea or towards the Sea of Marmara, and they get on your little ferry boat or on your lunch boat or something, and they bring scarves and they try to sell you wares, and
I
it's
have
just
danced with the scarves.
it is just so fun.
So excited.
So, and Turkey. Istanbul was not the capital of Turkey, but was the capital of many empires. And so we'll talk about that in just a second. But Istanbul is built on 7 hills, just like Rome. So it's
Very familiar.
it's a very, very beautiful city. The setting is very strategic. The Black Sea is the only place where Russia can build their ships and then float them. So they have to come through Istanbul. They have to come through the Bosphorus here.
Well, and before you went on this trip, if you did a little reading on Istanbul, you'd be getting that view into the whole ancient world. It just is the nexus of the ancient world.
It really is. And the Grand Bazaar we mentioned is one of the largest and oldest covered markets in the world. I think it's second maybe only to Hankhali in Cairo, but it's an amazing market. The population of Istanbul greater than 16 million now. It's a huge city.
Wow.
And it's vibrant. It's just fun and
Oh, my.
wonderful.
Oh, and then this is something really special.
Yeah, this is called Pamukkale, and Pamuk is the word in Turkish for cotton, and Kala is a castle. So it's a good name for a cotton castle. This is the most visited site in Turkey. There's about 2.6 to 2.8 million people a year who come to this very place. We will go here together, and these are beautiful mineral hot springs, and you can bathe in these, just soak in there, and it really is an amazing experience. And this is just one of many views that shows how beautiful this place is.
Wow.
So this is Ankara, and Ankara, this is actually
Well, you know Ankara pretty well.
I
because
lived in Ankara.
he lived there in 2 different years growing up.
I did, and Ankara is the lesser known large city in Turkey. Istanbul is, of course, the most famous, but Ankara is in the central part of the country. And this was the tomb of Ataturk, and Ataturk was the father of the Turks. The Ataturk means father of the Turks, and his name was actually Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, and he led the revolution against the Ottoman Empire in 1923. They basically knocked out the Ottomans, and it became the Republic of Turkey. And so this is the place. We'll go to this place as well. But Ankara was the capital of Galatia, the same that from the book of Galatians. It was the capital of Galatia clear back in the 3rd century BC. So this is an ancient and amazing city. And now it's a huge city. It's 5.8 million people. And it's a beautiful setting. And we'll go here and spend a couple of days. When we were living here the first time, I don't know if you can see the cursor, Wendy, but do you see my cursor on the screen there?
I don't.
Just below the E on people.
Yes, I see it now. Thank you.
Okay, well, we lived right in these apartments when we first lived there in the 60s. And then when we came back and lived here in the 70s, we lived down here in this section of the city. And so this is all very familiar territory to me. And Ankara I even learned a song. We had to learn it in culture class.
I think it's important that you perform
I'll sing
your song.
I'll sing one verse of it.
Okay.
It's Ankara, Ankara, güzel Ankara, seni görmek ister. And I can't remember the rest of it, but
You'll have to learn the rest of it by the time
I
get
will.
here.
I
We'll
will.
teach everybody.
And then you'll have to teach everybody.
yeah, we'll
That's
teach
right.
everybody.
So,
There's some great buildings. It almost looks like there's a space needle back there.
yeah, it's a pretty amazing place. And this
And
is
this is Antalya, Turkey. And it's
beautiful
just
coastal.
just like a postcard, right? It just is so beautiful. The sea is such a gorgeous color, and
It reminds me of Croatia.
it does
It
me
does.
too.
It's very
It
similar.
does me too. It's just a beautiful place. In fact, when our daughters were young, we took them to Antalya, and they both wanted to name a daughter Antalya because they thought it was such an incredibly beautiful place. It is. It's just striking, and you'll think, oh, how could I have never known about this place before?
So, and you'll love the Mediterranean coast in Turkey. And here, this is about as Turkish as you can feel here. This is overlooking the Bosphorus. But we just wanted to show you a couple of fun facts here. One is that the original name of Istanbul was Byzantium, and that name stayed for many, many centuries. And then they changed it to Constantinople, of course, after Constantine, who had converted to Christianity in about the early 4th century. And so it was Constantinople until 1930, and that's when the name was changed to Istanbul. So Istanbul.
There was a song about that, Constant.
You know, the song was going through my mind.
Constantinople. So
With those rich colors in that picture really remind me of Turkey. I mean, these fabrics are just so alluring.
and Santa Claus was born in Turkey. So most people don't know this, but the real
Well,
St. Nicholas was
yeah,
born.
and there's something else that most people just don't know on the next slide. Well, yeah, it has the youngest population. That's not what I was getting at, but the next
Wow.
slide.
Turkey is the
The
world's
world's
#1 producer
producer
of
of
hazelnuts.
So
Um,
that's good.
And I love hazelnuts. I served my mission to Germany, and we had 200 grams of hazelnuts per missionary every week, just as our snack. That's what we had, and they were already shelled, but I just came to love hazelnuts.
But this is the slide I was waiting for. Tulips originated in Turkey, not Holland.
What?
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Here you thought you knew all about tulips, and it's not.
Yeah.
Tulips originated in Turkey, and they are beautiful and bright. And of course, Holland brought them in. We always think of them as originally
From
Holland, but they didn't.
Exactly. It was a Netherlands thing.
Yeah, but I do have to say that Turkey may have originated them, but Holland learned how to market them. So you're not going to go to Turkey in your mind and say, I want to go there and just see and obtain the most amazing tulips in the world. No, you
When is their tulip festival, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It is in the Netherlands. So, you're right about that. So the church have this longest word, and it has 70 letters. And I think that
Scott really practiced trying to say it just for this occasion.
I
Let me
did.
know that you can.
In the last presentation we did, Lufty was there, our in-country guide, and I was embarrassed to try it in front of him. But now that he's not here, I'm going to just say it. It's Mufavahietsi Nasizala Lashtir Etchejilson Natira Daveria Metin Bilia Jecha Lera Mediasinde Denisim Shinem Mesasene, which actually translates as if you are one of those we cannot easily disarm.
I was counting your breaths that you had to take to get through that. That was
But the
three.
really tricky part is when that name is used as a URL. Nobody gets to their destination. That's on.
No way.
We're not going to.
That's funny.
Not going to go after that URL, are we?
No, we're not going to buy that one. But Cara Denise is the Black Sea. Cara is black and Denise is sea. And the beautiful Black Sea coast stretches for 1,175 kilometers. That's the same as from London to Venice. So it's a huge coastline.
We often underestimate the size of the Black Sea. It's just enormous.
So
that was one of the things I thought when you were showing the aerial maps. It's like, it's kind of like when you first understand exactly how big Australia is. I did not I've been selling turkey forever. I did not have a feel for how big Turkey was.
yeah, it's
Now
a
I do.
it's a very large country. It really is. And and the other little interesting fact is, we do this on a lot of our Middle Eastern tours. We say, how many can name the 7 wonders of the ancient world? And everyone can name one of them.
Which one do you think that is? Well, it is.
Maybe the pyramids of Giza. But then they kind of struggle. And between 50 people, usually we can come up with 6 of them. But 2 of the ancient wonders the 2 of the great wonders of the ancient world are located in Turkey. One is the Temple of Artemis, which you're looking at right now. It's in ruins, but
Well, and the other is
Ephesus.
the mausoleum of Halicarnassus, and the mausoleum is gone, and so is there's just a little bit of remains of the Temple of Artemis, Temple of Diana. But
Wow.
it's so fun to know that again, this was the center of the world. So that's why we have the big 7
Wonders of the world, and that's what's left.
And you have to understand the Romans and that world of the Roman Empire. Those Romans were master road builders, and they had roads. We've been out in eastern Turkey in the most remote areas and found Roman roads that are there to this day that have been uncovered by archaeologists, and we'll see a section of maybe a mile or 2 of them. And they are just stunning roads. And these are, this is like 1,800 miles from Rome.
Well, that's how you can always judge the civilization of a country, is if they have roads.
Great roads.
Great roads. They have to have great roads, not just dirt roads. So
The better the road, the better the country.
Yep,
It really
exactly.
really is true. So we'd love to have you join us. This is October 6th to the 22nd. Wendy or any of the agents there at Morris Murdock Escorted Tours can take care of you. But we love Turkey. And again, look at these beautiful volcanic tuffs. Aren't they amazing?
The weather will be
Well,
great.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's just like we were saying, the Christian history, the ancient history, the natural wonders, I think, is really something that you don't anticipate. And this is an amazing picture. Um, I think it looks amazing. I've already told Scot Maurine that I might just try to hitchhike and join up with this tour with them. I've already been to Israel with them, and one of my all-time favorites. They are amazing, as you can tell through this presentation, at bringing these destinations to life and really making you appreciate them in so many different aspects. So, Sarah Wainsgard is actually the specific tour manager for you, and her phone number and information is listed right here. That she's been to Turkey. She can talk to you about all the specific questions. Scott, tell us a little bit about the weather in October.
The weather, and I looking at the screen there, it looks like I'm frozen, but I hope you can still hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, the weather, and that wasn't a weather comp.
I was going to say,
I'm frozen.
frozen now.
Frozen.
The weather in the Mediterranean in October, November is a perfect time for traveling. And Turkey has a variance of weather because when you get up on the Anatolian Plateau, which is where Ankara is, it's a little higher. So it'll be cooler there, but not too bad. But all along the coast, which we'll spend a lot of time along the coast, it is just so pleasant. It will be like mid 70s to low 80s. It was
It's like
just
giving
about,
you an extra little month of summer to go.
yeah,
to
just
go over
about
this
perfect.
time.
Just about perfect. So we just love Turkey. It's again, we called this presentation the hidden jewel of the Middle East because it really is. Everyone we talk to, when we take them to Turkey, or if they've never heard much about Turkey, they say, "I never knew."
And that is really the biggest thing. I was going to say, actually, if one of you guys want to talk a little bit about one of the questions that we get when we tell people that they really need to go to Turkey, they say, well, is it safe because of its location? And we know it's a Muslim country. Are they welcoming of Christians? How would you answer that question?
Oh my goodness, it's completely safe, and yes, they are welcoming. We have the tourist trade is really important to Turkey, and you'll know that whenever tourist trade is important to a country, everybody steps up and is gracious to the new guest who comes. So yes, we have no worries in terms of security with Turkey at all.
Well, and when the Jerusalem Center students, the BYU students in Jerusalem when it became a little more dangerous to go to Egypt, for example, the next place they chose was to just send them up to Turkey because it's very safe.
Yeah,
there.
Turkey where they can count on
Yeah.
safety.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a safe place, and it's just it's a delightful place, and I love the Turks, and I wish we weren't frozen up there in the corner, but nevertheless, the Turks are the most gentle, kind people. The Turks have an interesting origin. They're not European. They're not Arab. They're a different tribe altogether, and their language is different from. They do have some Arab words, but Ataturk in 1933 started excising all the Arab words out of the Turkish language so that they can have their own pure language. But the Kurds who live in eastern Turkey, the Kurdish people, have a language that's completely different, and it's a very difficult language to learn, and it's the closest cousin that it has in language is the Finnish language. So, I mean, it's
Fascinating.
fascinating roots.
Do you still remember some of your Turkish words?
Oh, sure. Bugün hava çok güzel. Nasılsınız?
Well, he just said that really long one.
Oh yeah, so that's one of my favorite words, but
I don't think he'll be using that word too often.
I used to speak Turkish so well, and now I don't speak it very well. I can still understand a lot of it, but it's I can still count to 100 or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, it's a wonderful language.
Well, in other words,
Well,
you'd be going to Turkey with someone who's been there a lot, you grew up, part of his growing up years there. So you've got somebody who is in love with Turkey, and
knows the lands, knows the people. And you had mentioned Lufti Baydar, who was with us on this tour, who has lived in the United States. He is amazing. He loves Americans. He loves members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint. He's very familiar with our faith.
So pleasant.
And
He's eternally
yeah,
sweet. Oh my goodness.
he
Such a
is so
gift.
welcoming, and he loves nothing more than to share his home with you guys. So I really hope that you'll consider joining us. This is an in-depth dive into Turkey. We really didn't spend a whole lot of time on the biblical teachings, but we'll save that for another time, because I think the highlights that you pointed out on this are so much to take in. But I mean, we've got the book of Revelations, we've got the journeys of Paul, we've got so much that you guys, I know, are going to be touching on during this trip. So I just can't encourage anybody enough who has got any interest in really learning about this amazing destinations. Before the prices really jump, this is still at the point that you can really get a lot of value from your American dollars on this tour. So we invite you to join Scot and Maurine, hopefully me. But this year in October in Turkey. Scot Maurine, thank you so much for this presentation. Your pictures have been fabulous, and as always, your explanations are amazing. We just appreciate your time, and we appreciate your time for watching this presentation. And we hope to see you on tour. And until then, safe travels, and we look forward to talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.